Hello and welcome to my sample movie project of an activity I would assign my students to complete. This is a sample of a student reporting on a research project they did on the city of Rome. Ancient city, which is why that film was so old. Hello everyone, my name is Tracy Doherty and this is the research project that I put together on the ancient city of Rome. This is a map of Italy. For any of you who haven't been there, you should go. It's a nice place. This is the topography of the city of Rome as it existed then, the hills which are so famous. A little bit about the origins of Rome, location, location, location. Some of the advantages of Rome's locations were that it had two of the most important routes in central Italy. It had good weather, it had great soil, natural protection, permanent water sources, which meant more produce, more people, more warriors. It also had access to valleys and rivers, as well as the sea and interior land, controlled salt pans, and had the only fordable part of the Tiber River. This is the hydrological landscape. This is a picture of the modern-day Tiber Island, and then this is a picture of what Tiber Island was thought to look like in the days of Constantine the Great. Some of the disadvantages of the location was that it was desirable to others, so there was lots of fighting. Any enemy armies moving down south would have passed through their lands. Their sea access was limited because of the Tiber River's mouth, and they often had to come to terms with their neighbors because of their proximity, either through ally or conquest. When was the city founded? 753 BCE by Romulus and Remus is the myth. There were 7 hills, which we saw on the map earlier. It was in central Italy, right upon the Tiber River, but how was it founded was more important. Go to the huts. The huts and the hut villages mark the origins of Rome, somewhere between the mid-14th century into the early Iron Age. Research shows there were several small clusters of huts on the 7 Roman hills and valleys, and even though some of them shared common cemeteries, it was thought that they didn't have a common sense of identity. Eventually they underwent the process of synoikism, that's right, a Greek word, and they abandoned their smaller settlements and became a larger settlement. This is a model hut. And here we see a model recreation of an entire hut village. This next hut is dear to my heart as I made it in my backyard. This is a modern reconstruction, and this is what they look like in Italy today that the shepherds live in. So I wanted to make a connection to the literature that we've been reading in class. So we read a little bit about Gordon Child, and I took a quote from the work, which is, "It is clear that most locations agriculture generally predated the rise of the first cities, and this is very true in Rome too. These hills and valleys were long inhabited by agriculturally dependent people before Rome even became a city. According to his timeline, Rome is now undergoing its Neolithic revolution. Later on, it will undergo its urban revolution. According to his checklist of factors in distinguishing villages from cities, Rome had a lot of the features needed to be considered a city. Such as writing, sciences, trade, taxes, but it didn't get a 10 out of 10 because citizenship was really strict in the Roman Empire. I also wanted to make a connection between ancient Rome and Kingsley Davis, who we also read. A difference between a royal village and an urban community is one of degree, and he provides a lot of data on how tiny European settlements were after the fall of Rome and why they grew so slowly. And this seemed to be because these settlements couldn't prosper on agriculture alone, but they had to trade and had to manufacture something to trade. Also, unlike Rome, these settlements didn't gain political dominance over all the lands around them, so they were small warring states instead. The last author I wanted to make a connection to was Ernest Burgess. In Rome, we see the expansion of the city as a physical growth, but also as a process, because in order to accommodate the physical growth, Rome needed technology to make physical changes to their landscape so they could even have a larger population. So we see things like the Forum Romanum, it eventually becomes their economic center, and that was made in a marshy valley that separated some of the hills, and it needed to be drained. Also, the 6 remaining hills spreading out were encompassed in some sort of fashion that made these circles of growth, as the author describes. So those were just a few of many connections that can be made between Rome and the works that we're reading on modern urban development and city planning. So thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. The end.